be designing a puff flower this time. Last time I showed you how to make this flat flower, and I'd like to show you one thing about this. I just did this a couple of days ago, so these are new videos. Um, 2022, is that what we're in already? And I just wanted to show you also that you can make them really small. So this is the same flower as this here, but it's really small. Look how tiny. So this is about 2 inches, 2.5 inches. And one of the things you have to realize is that if you're making it small, depending on your fabric, this one I wanted it to lay flat. So you can see that it kind of opens up a little bit more because you have less petals. You can go ahead and take this one and glue it right there, and it will just a little. I usually put a little glue just right on the string where we connected them, and that is how small you can make them. You can make them pretty small, or you can make them larger like this one. And the puff flowers we're going to make today, we can make them pretty large also. This one, let me get a ruler so we can see the size of this. These should be about 4 inches. And yes, it's about 4 inches. See that? And let me see this one. This one should be close to 4 inches. It was a little bit bigger, about 4.5. But I'm going to make it just a little smaller because I like the way this one looks better than this one, a little bit big. But notice on this one, we put some lace on the inside. I used a patterned flat fabric, and this one is just using a plain fabric. Now this, I would say that these flowers, you can use your old sheets to make these cotton flowers. They look shabby, they look pretty, and they're very easy to make, but you can be as creative as you want. So on this one, I chose to use applique, which made it look more elegant. Can you see that changing what you put in the center can make it look out? So just the button, without, if you would put any pearls on it, it would just be a nice, beautiful flower. Or over here, I made, we're going to also make this lace, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you how to make the plain puff flower. And then if you hang on, I'm going to stay on a little bit longer, and I will show you I'll show you how I made the tassel. And then I will also show you how I put the lace on this one. And so we're going to start with something simple. Let's see, let me pull my camera down so I can actually see it. I have to adjust it because I need to be able to see myself. All I use for recording is I only use my phone. So whatever, usually it records well. I get a good, my voice is pretty comes through. But one of the things that does happen is that I sometimes get dropped because I am using my Wi-Fi, and sometimes it just drops. So if my videos drop, then I'll try coming on a couple of times, and then if it doesn't come back on, then we will I will probably record later, or something like that, or upload a new video, something like that. But right now, so if you have questions, realize, people, that when I make my videos, I am one person and I don't have anybody helping me with the comments and things like that. You're welcome to comment. Sometimes I see your comments, sometimes I don't. But I really want you guys to talk to each other on there and say hi to each other. You can ask questions, but realize I don't know if there's a place I can find where I can see the comments after the fact, but I haven't been able to find them myself. So I'm self-taught. So everything I do, I learn myself. So this pink one right here is this is a pink. It feels like a thin cotton sheet. That's what it feels like. It's a cotton. And it's about 4 inches wide. Now the length, this length, let me measure the length on it just so you know what this one is. It is about 25 inches long. The first thing I do is I cut a strip. Now, when you cut the strips of this fabric, to cut the fabric, I've shown you on many videos how to make strips. And all you do is you take your fabric, and for cotton tears very easily. You just make a little cut in it, and then it tears. And I'm only going to tear this one because I know that I'm going to use this later on in the tassel, so it doesn't matter to me. So that's what you do. I tear my fabric. Now you will find that it will, like when you first get your fabric, say you purchase it from, the fabric store, the edge that they won't be the first cuts will not be straight because they cut them with scissors. So you're going to have to tear it until it tears straight. Cotton tears straight. So that's one cool thing about cotton. Now it does fray. So how much fray you have on yours is up to you, but I usually take off at least the majority of my fray. Okay, so if you're going to cut it, just tear it. You measure, do a little starter cut, and then tear. All right, so even this one is even wrinkled. I think this one is actually a laundered piece. You don't have to launder it, but you can before. Now the first thing I do when I'm going to make a puff flower is I take this piece, which is 4 inches wide, and I fold it in half. Okay. Now, and I'm going to use my hot glue gun. You can use any type of glue that holds fabric together. You can use fabric tack or whatever you want. But this first tack, it's a very light tack. I don't put a lot of glue because it's just holding the fabric together so it doesn't unfold, and it's not necessary that this is going to stay together. So I just put like 3 or 4 like that. Let me move it closer so I don't get out of view here. I just messed that up. Oops, I dropped. Okay, so that's the first thing you do, and it doesn't take that long, and you use as much glue as you want, but I don't use too much because it's just a tack, and it's going to be still manipulated in different ways. So don't waste your glue. If you have, it can get pricey when you're buying good quality glue. Okay, so that is my first step. Well, actually, it's not my first step. First step would have been cutting the fabric, right? By the way, this is Liz with Crafty Devotion. I am designing a wreath, and I decided, well, since I haven't remade my flower videos for a long time, I'm going to be making them live, and then later on I might go back, and if I ever have time, go back and edit them and shorten them. But one of the things you guys can do while you're doing this to help other people is if you see one of my videos where I do a tutorial and I do too much talking, you can tell them where the craft actually starts. Today I tried not to do too much talking. So this is about 25 inches wide. I take it and I fold it in half like this. Now, this first part is for those of you who like to see it done fast and then start going to work and want to do it yourself. Those who want more details and understanding and more description, then we will. Now, I folded this in fourths. Now, if it's too thick for you, you might want to fold it in thirds or in 2. I do it this way because it's a lot less cuts. We're going to cut this fabric. And I'm just going to start like this. These cuts do not need to be perfect. I want you to see that this is the bottom part that's glued, and you can see it's frayed, and this is the folded part. And I'm cutting up here. The folded part I'm going to cut into approximately, it's probably very close to a little larger than 1/4 inch. So really the thickness you make this will determine your fabric. Now, when you cut a lot of pieces like this, sometimes they bend and fold, and you might cut up, like one might cut off. Then you just be more careful, or don't layer it so much. I prefer them 1/4 inch or less, the approximately 1/4 inch. But you can make these thicker if you say you have a really large, you want to make it wider. But I really liked about 3.5 to 4 inches, because it will end up it will make a flower that's 3.5, about 3.5, 4 inches. And the folded part ends up being 2 inches, as you can see that when it's folded. You see, this is quite simple. Now, let's say that you accidentally cut all the way through. You want to stop before you hit the end. The lower you go, the less bulk you're going to have for the bottom. Let me show you the bottom. The bottom is a circle, and you'll see how thick this is right here. The closer you go, the thinner. So mine is about 1/4 of an inch thick. So if you don't go far enough, then it will be very high flower, which is okay. If you use them for different things. And this one is a more, there is a way to make a puff flower and make it flat, but there's so many videos out there on how to do it. You would make the flower, you would cut it a little bit shorter. Instead of 4 inches, maybe you might use 3 or less. And then you glue it flat on a circle or on fabric. And there are tons of videos. If you search puff flower, you'll see that a lot of people. So this was my version years ago. Many of you who don't know, I began crafting about 2016 when I was not very healthy, getting surgeries, kidney stones, and during that time I was trying to craft while I was in pain. I was recovering from surgeries and kidney stones, and I'm still have chronic things going on with me. So depending on how little bit of brain fog I have, how much better I feel, I try and do more and more things. And I am trying to stay on YouTube a little bit. YouTube is not a big money maker for me, but it does show you guys get to see the things that I do, and I'm trying to give you guys tips. But I don't give everything give away as much information as I used to. For example, if you go to my channel, I make those Shabby Chic angels, the big 12-inch and the smaller ones. I don't give away all of my details. All I do is tell you that my angels, I use my dress method, which there's free tutorials for my little ornament dresses, and I also combine it with a ribbon angel, which you can search on YouTube and find that. So now what I'm doing is I want this one to be a little more shabby than last week's. And I'm pulling it like this. And if you'll see some of the pieces are falling down here on the bottom. And I usually do it at this point over my trash can. I don't always do it over my work table. And then the pieces come off, depending on what kind of a cotton you use. Then it will fray more or less. And if you work it harder, it'll fray more and make it more shabby. So you do whatever you want with it. Now I'm going to sweep this stuff up because I don't want it all over everything. So this is some of it. It's not a lot, but okay. You can see a little bit of fray on there, I think. See that? Okay, so now that you did that, now let's say that you did cut it by accident. There's nothing to worry about because you can just continue on with the pattern. Now, all we're going to do is I usually like to start with something, a thinner pin, or this is like a marker that's made for sewing to mark when I make my little bodices. I do use this to mark it, and all I'm going to do is wrap it around. And this is as simple as it is. That's all you do really, is you wrap and you wrap and you wrap. And what I used to see is when I first started, I used to see people like laying it flat. And so I came up with the idea of rolling it. So you'll see a lot more people rolling it now because I did do those videos way back in 2016. So a lot of people have seen them, and they do make them now flat like this. And it works for a lot of things. You can actually do this with burlap. You can do it with different types of it's just fabrics. I use different fabrics. A fabric that frays a lot. It could be, you can even use a satin. I've made them with satin. So this is all. See, I'm just rolling it. And what I'm doing is I'm gluing this part. And this part, I do glue a lot more. I put a lot more glue. Now, it's not thick. It's just a thin amount of glue. And I do put it on the whole thing. And you don't have to put it on the whole thing. But as you can see, my cuts left about 1/4 of an inch right between the fabric and here. But let's say that I'm going to cut this so you can see, those of you who accidentally cut it, because I do it quite often, especially when I'm doing so. I accidentally cut it. Let's finish this piece off. This time I didn't accidentally cut it. The last one I made, I did. Now I want you to see. Do you see this, how small this is? This can be used like a tuck flower. So I'm going to turn you up to look at my wreath because that's what I'm working on. So there's my wreath and my mask there. Say that I was going to leave that flower on. I'm not going to leave it there. I've been putting things on here that I'm probably going to use to decorate it. And so these are some of the flowers I might use, I might not. And you can take this flower and you want to add it to something and it's little, see? And you can tuck it right in there. And look how pretty that looks right there, tucked in, adds a different color, adds a different element, okay? So those of you who can teach themselves quickly, you guys can head on off. And those of you who want to stay around, we're going to finish this flower. But really, this is how far you can do it. You can do it this small, or you can keep on going. And I cut it purposely because I want to show you, all you do is wherever you left off, even if it's not where you left off, you can start wherever you want and just keep on going again. So all you do, I usually start, when I start it again, I usually put a little glue first on the actual bud or rolled part, stick it on, see? And then I just keep rolling. It's not a big deal. This is a very forgiving flower. You can stop whenever you want. So I'm going to do this whole piece myself because I want you to see what it looks like with about 25 inches of this fabric. Some cottons are thicker than others, so it might be thicker. It might be, so let's see. These have been, this video, this was one of my very first videos that I did where I actually came up with this idea. So if you want to see it, I have more details. If you want to get other ideas, because I did an entire series with using cotton, because I was learning, and I'm the type of teacher that teaches best when I'm learning. That's the kind of teacher I am. And if you see my old videos, I didn't know like how to pronounce tulle. I used to call it tulle. And I was new to the craft community and I didn't know what things were called. Don't be embarrassed, you guys. Don't be worried about what people think of you. You're going to, everyone, the best YouTubers who are out there get criticism. You guys got to let it roll right off your shoulders. Now, if you're coming and doing YouTube just because you want social interaction, then block your messages more, or just allow only certain people to come on. So you can actually make a video, and I could make this video and I could make it unlisted and only send a link to those people I want to watch it and be on with me. So if you are a YouTuber and you don't like the criticism and it's hard for you because we're all at different stages, one day, we're going through our hormones and one day we're not. One thing you should know is I am older. I'm going to turn 60 next year or this year. I turned 59 and I'm not afraid to say my age. I don't go on and let you see my face very often because it's extra work. I have to comb my hair and make sure, and then I have to make sure that my background is good, and I'm not set up for that. So there you go. See how simple that was? And this one, I do like it. It filled out a little more. I made it 4 inches, and usually, let's measure it. So it was 25 inches long, and it was 4 inches wide, and it ends up to be about 4 inches. See that? Look how beautiful that is. Now, from here, I'm going to show you, I'm going to make this pink flower first, and then we're going to do another flower, and I'm going to show you another little technique. Okay. So this one is the same as that one. Oh, I sound younger? Well, I didn't learn how to craft until after I had raised my children. I didn't realize I was creative when I was raising them because I homeschooled them. But so this is the top I decided to put on it. the little thing. I'm going to show you how to make this little piece of lace. Very simple. And we're using my a la list technique. So one of the things I like to show you are things that are that are easy to do, that you can make this flower with scraps, or you can buy a very beautiful trim like this one. This piece I put on top of this one made it look elegant, and it had the bling on it already. This right here I carry in my Etsy shop, but I also put these beads, which are my lower priced beads, in my Etsy shop. Here I have them in pink too. See, these are the beads, and you don't use a whole lot, and it gave you a little bit of beads on there. So, but I want to show you that if you can do that. Or what do I have over here? Over here I have, this is a trim I sell in my shop. And you can see that you can get a lot of use out of this trim. You can use it as a trim. You can remove the flowers, and you could use these flowers as the center. So you can do that. You can use your scraps, or you can make a smaller one here, like I made a la list technique out of the fabric, and I can put that on there. I can use a bead, a little flower I might have, and look how cute that looks. Can you see that? And make it look cute. It brings it out. Whatever you put on it brings it out. So use what you have. Now, I do have tons of stuff in my Etsy shop, and I will continue to show you the things I have, because I am a business now. I didn't used to be a business. So this little flower, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 petals. So let me do, I think it was eight pieces. So this is a flat lace, a pretty fat lace. It's about 2 inches wide, I think. I carry in my Etsy shop. See that? It's in my shop. I think I sell it 2 yards at a time. And I think this is how I did it. Let me check. Where is it? I already lost it. Here you are. Okay, I did it this way. All right. So what I did is I took it, I'm cutting it, I'm making petals, okay? I decided I was going to fold it into thirds. I folded, this is using my a la list technique, but you can do it with different types of things, fabric, lace, whatever. And I'm cutting it right now. You know how I had you wrap it and cut it? Well, this one I'm not going to wrap, but let me grab, let me see if I can find myself I'm gonna have to get a new one. I use the hairpins all the time, right? Well, I lose them all the time. I find them all over the floor. I'm just put it here just to demonstrate what I did. I just folded it into thirds, and now I'm going to cut it into little petals. See the little petals? I made little petals, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm using regular lace. You can use fabric lace. You can use whatever, and I want it to be small. And now I'm going to take this and round it to cut it into a petal. My technique, really, you can use scraps, you can use beautiful, more, I use a combination. That's why my flowers look so unique, because I make my flowers, and I use different types of things. So let's see, let me cut this down a little lower, like the petals. All right, so I just cut it into 3, and let me see how thick these are before I close it up. I folded it into I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eighths. So you can use a 1/2 inch or more. I just tripled it. They don't have to do that. And I did it the same way I showed you how to do the previous video, where I showed you how to cut it, but this time I'm using lace. I missed cutting that petal, so I'm going to cut this petal. See, it's forgiving. I'm checking how much space I have between each petal. Yep, I missed cutting this petal right here, which is a very sheer piece. See the little petal? Okay. So this is more time consuming than just slapping on one of, let's say I want yellow, slapping this on there, right? It takes more time. but you did it yourself. And this one, I think I'm going to try doing it this way. So now I got my pen and I'm going to go right in the middle of the petals. There's 3 petals on this one, which makes it into now I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. And the softer part, I'm going to let it be in the middle. So there's a little, and each one will come out different. You can see it looks a little different. And now, remember I used the string, get my string. Alrighty. All right. All right, I did this. You want slow or detailed tutorials on how to work with lace? I have videos, older videos that you probably don't come up in the feed, but if you go into my playlist, I did try to put all my flower tutorials in one playlist. I try to hide my personal playlist, but I don't know if it shows them to you guys. I have all kinds of strange personal playlists. Okay, so there you go. It's a little flower. It looks like it has more petals than my other one. And you can work with it and make it say they seem like they're uneven. Right now I look to see it. It looks uneven, like the petals on one side might be bigger than the other. And now this becomes my center. And look at it, gave it a little bit of lace to the center. And now you can choose to put something in the middle. I like how this flower looks. A little bit of lace gives it, and you can make this lace longer, or you can make it smaller, okay? And you can see how beautiful that is. You can use different, since I'm using, you can make this lace lavender if you have lavender lace, and choose a different bling. Here's a pearl. I carry this cream pearl in my shop. It's a little bit bigger. And since I'm working with purple, I could make it purple. I have these like teardrop ones. Look how pretty that makes it pop, right? And that would look pretty on my lavender purple wreath. So all that depends upon you. Okay, so now we made this piece that went on it. Oh, I forgot to mention, I did do something. I put pearls on here. Okay, so I took this. So I have this trim. This is a trim on a fishing line. Wow, different kinds of crafters out there. I just saw a little bit where people were using, somebody was, make sure you guys are looking down at the comments, okay? Because there's people who are down there talking about things that they did. And I can't reply to them all because I am busy crafting. So I'll take a piece of this, okay? And then I put it across this way. And then when I put my little lace on top of, when I glue this down, the beads will be sticking down. You can put the beads on top of this lace too if you want. You can put less beads. So if we do this and we use 2, make it an X, and then glue this on top. You can do it that way. Another way you can use the beads is I usually try to do the small beads. That's the part that I'm attaching. So you can form them like this. Okay. And I'll stick them in here. And now you can make them look like a bow on the side. See that? So do it any way you want. You'll see that I use these beads. I use them in my miniature hats. I use them in a lot of things. So there you go. That's how you make that puff flower. It's very simple. The thickness is going to be there. You can't get rid of this thickness for this way. There is a way you can. And like I said, there's tons of videos out there. Just search puff flower. Now we're going to do this one where we're going to actually, I'm going to make one similar to this because I decided that I'm going to put this one, I'm going to make a couple of these because I enjoy making flowers, and I'm going to put them in my shop, and I'll probably do a lot together, like, you know, several. I decided, well, maybe I'll make two purple like this one, since I have this fabric. This fabric I actually did put in that first lot. Let me see how big this is. So there we go. Remember, we can use scraps for all kinds of, I'm pushing everything aside just so there's not too much stuff. Okay, cut this strip. This one is just under, it's about 3 3/4 inches. So I did make it a little bit smaller, and which is fine. This one is very, very long. Let's see how long it is, because it is the width of the fabric, probably 45 inches. Yeah, it's about 45 inches. Okay. You don't need to use it all. So I'm going to cut it in half. This is like, you know, when you buy fabric and off the bolt, and half of it is, the width is usually about 45 inches or so, 42 inches, things like that. I think this one might be 42, but something like that. I'm going to cut it in half. So this is going to be a strip of fabric, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do one other thing. So we're going to fold it in half and glue here. I'm going to try and do it quickly so you guys aren't just watching me do this. Glue it together because this is not the part I want to show you. If I was planning ahead of time, really making professional videos, I would have got this done ahead of time, but I'm not. I'm just trying to bring you into my world, and then when I get inspired, depend on how I feel, I'm just making videos. Okay, so then we're going to do the same thing we did on the other one. Actually, we're not yet, because this is the next step. If I can find the trim. I used. Okay, now that same lace I showed you, this is approximately, it's in my Etsy shop, and it is just over 2 inches, so about 2 inches. So this is a perfect, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take this lace, and I'm going, this kind of lace, when you use it, it doesn't fray, so it's a good one to use here. And I'm going to attach it to this now. Oh, wait. Yes, that's what I wanted. Okay. I was just looking at the patterns of the fabric, and I didn't want certain pattern, and I like this pattern. This one has a little bit of yellow, a little bit of different colors, and the other side has some cherubs on it. So if, let's say that you bought one of my lots and you have fabrics, like I gave you a cotton fabric, you want to do this to it, it's all right to cut, because I cut it like in a rectangle, it's okay to cut several strips out of it and use a piece of fabric, but just cut strips, and then you can attach it all together when you're rolling, if that makes sense to you. Because I showed you how if you accidentally tear through your fabric, you can do that. Okay, so now this is what I'm going to do now. Now you can use different types of lace too. You can actually fold like a big wide lace. You can fold it over if you want. I'm going to experiment with this piece since I made it a little long, and I'm going to experiment with it. I'll show you what I'm going to do. So right now I'm going to do like I did last time, but instead of folding it in fours, because it's more fabric probably, I'm going to fold it in half. There you go. And then we're going to cut it. This time it just has the lace on top, that's all. And when we roll it, that lace will get stuck down more. And the lace doesn't fray. It will manipulate, like it's single cut. So, I mean, if you pull hard on it, you might tear some, but Really, it's just that type of a lace. So this is how I could use this lace. Now you can also use a different lace, like a fabric, the same cut one, the same as the previous one, and then you can fold it over. It'll just be thicker. You can do that, but I liked this idea. Gives a little bit of lace, not too much. You can make it a little wider, then it'll stick out more when you're making your flower, right? You can use any color fabric. You can use pink, you can use boho colors. If you see some of my old videos, I used some boho colors. I tea dyed the fabric. My idea at first was because I wanted to show people how to craft on a budget, and you don't always have to buy from my shop. Although I want you to buy from my shop, you don't need to always buy from my shop because we can't all afford it. We're all at different stages, especially with COVID. You know, we're all at different stages. Okay. So, by the way, I'm Liz. I have an Etsy shop called Crafty Devotion. Craftydevotion.etsy.com if you want to find some of the things that I design. I don't sell very many handmade flowers, but I think I'm going to start because I enjoy making them so much. I don't know. I like the creativity of it, and I make them my own. So I might start doing it more. And what I'm thinking of is just making like for this one, maybe making 3 flowers and putting them in a lot, you know. And they can this is a nice, these are nice spring colors, pink and with a little bit of yellows in there and purple and blue. There's a little bit of blue in this fabric. Okay, when I get close to the end, you stop where you want, but I'll come and I'll unfold the center here. And see there's that much left, and then I'll do it individually just to make sure that they get cut a little better because it's easier to cut one of the petals off or something. I'm going to cut this thinner. I want thin. Okay, there you go. Now at this point, depending on how strong your lace is, you might want to be able to shabby it up a little bit, but realizing you have to be gentle with it because that lace is on there. I'm going to take this rest of this lace and I'm going to actually cut it also. I'm going to see how it looks rolled up in the center. It'll be interesting. We'll see. I may end up cutting it off, or I might leave it on. I don't know. We'll see what happens. This is how I come up with new designs, is because I am not afraid to experiment and fail. And that's how you can come up with new things. Don't be afraid to experiment and fail. Because I can tell you that I have failed before. And then I doesn't work out the way I thought. And so I'm thinking I could actually just take this leftover and come back this way and glue it on. But I decided I'm going to try and see what it's like to roll, although it's kind of very sheer, but I'm gonna roll it a little bit before I glue some. See what happens. We will see what occurs. I'm just folded it. Now I'm going to glue inside of it. See, I'm experimenting. I realize, oh, that's going to be hard to glue because I'm using hot glue. If you were using other types of glue, then it wouldn't. And I'm actually letting this just rolling it. It's going to be a lace center. See what it looks like. I need more glue. Okay. Take a sip of water while I'm at it. All right. You see that I'm putting the glue mostly on the actual lace because I might, I don't want to burn myself. The glue goes right through this lace. So I'm going to do a couple more rounds, then add more glue. All right. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you, I'm going to get the other side to show you. Okay, so when you roll these, if you roll it this way, when it opens up, the lace will lay on top of the flower. If you roll it with the lace on the outside, when it will be on the bottom of the flower. So roll it with the lace on the inside. Okay, that's the way I did it. You can do it differently if you want, because you know what? You're free to experiment. So I'm gonna roll mine again. Now I'm gonna leave that lace there, and it'll be the first time I ever tried this. So can you see? And I'm rolling the lace inside the center. And I may like it or I may not. And it may show and it may not. I don't know. I could see maybe making a longer piece and then it stick out from the center. You know, using a different lace and then rolling it in the middle. That might work. Okay, so now you can see that the lace will be on top of the petals. Whereas if you would have put the lace on the outside, on the other side and rolled it a different way, the lace would be underneath the petals when they flop out. And you can see that's a big enough flower right there for you to use in anything. You know, and look at that, it does look pretty. See that little lace coming out? It actually looks pretty. Okay, here we go. And you can make these smaller. Bigger, you have to be careful when you make them bigger. I think you need to think about maybe not going over maybe 4.5 inches, but maybe making different sizes, like the center part you use shorter and then bigger, because I have shown you how to do that too, like a 1/2 inch bigger. Or mostly you need to just add more fabric is what you need to do when you're doing these. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to try looking, if anybody has any questions about what I'm doing right now, I'm going to try looking while I'm rolling, and so I can answer those questions. Make sure if you're watching this after the fact to give me thumbs up and comment on my videos. That helps my videos, helps me to think, okay, people do want to see this. So I know that you really want to see videos like this where I'm showing you some of my techniques. Right now, we're working with a little bit of cotton. A lot of people like the cotton flowers. I have videos where I show you a variety of folded flowers. I have a folded flower where I show you how to use folded flowers. I have a few of them that I've shortened where I made them 5 minutes so you can see them really fast. You'd have to Google Crafty Devotion and look for folded flowers or 5-minute flowers. But you know, it takes a lot of editing, so but I'm not as nervous as I used to be, so it doesn't bother me too much to go live. It's okay if I clear my throat. It doesn't bother me. If I repeat myself, it doesn't bother me too much. Okay, there we go. Almost done here. All right. Now I do this, and now you can see that center. It actually came out looking pretty good. Do you like that? I like it. I like it. I could see myself maybe even taking those and rounding them. Like when I cut them, maybe instead of making them flat, maybe round them. It would look more like that center we made earlier. Okay, so now find your center. And this one looks like it's pretty enough where it doesn't need anything. You can just leave it like this. I like this size. Can you see how it doesn't lay as flat? Look how flat this one is. And this one's not as flat. So that really is pretty. I do like that white lace in the middle. So see the lace in there. So now this is a dimensional flower. It is quite a wide, see? So that would be great on any of your projects. If you're making a project, choose a different type of fabric. And I think I didn't see anyone having any questions. So unless you have questions, I'm getting ready to finish here. I do have an appointment a little bit later with my son. But let me show you, let's see. Here we go. So here are some more of my centers. I have these in my shop at different colors, and you can use this, and it just changes your flower to a different color. Where's my other one? There we go. Oh, here. So this one, you could change it to look blue. See how pretty? And then I have them, these smaller ones. These small little ones. And that's why I got them. I really got them because some crafters, you want to find something where you can buy several of them instead of buying like really big fancy jewelry, something that you can use, and then you can use this flower to decorate a package or something like that. And you can put a little center of a different color or the same color, because I do have it in pink someplace around here. Oh, this is a rose one. Okay. That won't really, oh, I went good. But anyway, that is me making a puff flower. This is how I designed them several years ago, and I think a lot more people make them now. I've even seen other people make videos using my way of doing it, but I'm sure I'm not the first one that came up with rolling them, but you know, I did make them quite a long time ago, and I came up with it myself, but doesn't mean that it was unique like nobody else did. Because the same with the bobby pin flower, I think I came up with it myself, and then I learned that flowers have been made with bobby pins for a long time. So, but I want you guys to comment below. Would you like me to do some videos? I was just watching another crafter do some Easter things. She made some cute crafts with for Easter, and would you guys like to see something like that? Because I want to make them, and I might as well, if I'm going to make it, maybe I can just share it with you at the same time. Either way, remember, I'm Crafty Devotion on Etsy, and I have a Facebook. I'm on Pinterest, although I'm trying to work more on Pinterest. I also share on Instagram, but again, it's not very good. I'm slow at learning technology, but I think the next thing I'm going to work on more is Pinterest. I'm trying to organize my boards and trying to make them more coherent. I think from Pinterest, I get a lot of traffic for my angels and my dresses, and I have little dress kits if you want to make your own dress kit. But I will talk to you guys next time. Yeah, make sure you guys comment if you guys want to see it. Um, and if you commented something I didn't answer it, please, after this is all loaded back on my channel, go ahead and comment then, because I don't see most of these. But thank you. A lot of you are saying it's beautiful and it looks nice, and these are easy flowers to make. I take away like a lot of the little intricate pieces and having to cut them small pieces, small circles, you know, and they are beautiful. As you can see, they're just beautiful flowers, all the different kinds of flowers that these, and like I said, you can experiment with different fabrics, and I will try and show you the same technique with a different fabric, because there's little tweaks in it. And like I said, I'm trying to show you how to do it in the beginning and then kind of go slower and be more detailed at the end. That way, those of you who have a short attention span just want the idea and can go, because we all learn differently. And most of the time, I'm trying to teach people who are first-time crafters. But happy crafting, everyone. I will talk to you guys next time.